The first session is about romantic relationships. I'm so delighted that I have Johannes Fessler here today to discuss his wide range of knowledge. He's got a specific program out for men to help them through their breakups, but he's also an expert in relationships, and whether you're male or female, whether you're single, in a marriage, or going through a breakup right now, there'll be something for you to help you with your relationships, even if it's going perfectly, just to make sure that it keeps going perfectly and you can be the best version of yourself. So Johannes, we did discuss yesterday, but not everybody might have seen it. Are you happy for people coming new to this today for yourself to say about your story and your journey into helping people out with their relationships, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. I'm Johannes Fessler. I'm a relationship and breakup coach. I'm specialized on men, but I can also coach women because in the end it's ultimately but I really focused on men because I realized after my breakup in 2018, right? Like 2018, I got a breakup after 5 years, post 5 years. And I realized that, first of all, I did again everything wrong that you could do wrong. So like all the men typical do, and I was doing this exactly the same. So I don't take myself out. So I really just switched on my Tinder. I went out on parties. I slept with everything that is not on 303. I drank too much and all that stuff. So I did really everything wrong. I did everything to distract myself and just not to think about the breakup, right? And I realized after 3 months it just get worse and worse and worse. And I thought, like, what the hell I can do? I need to change something. I cannot continue like this. Otherwise I get crazy. And then I said, okay, you know what? Let's change this completely. So I stopped completely going out. I started to meditate every day in the morning, and I really was looking consciously for anything that could help me to feel better, right? So, and I was looking like for a course or something like this, because I love to do personal development stuff and courses like Mind Valley. And so I thought maybe I find a course for that, for this, like for me as a man. And to be honest, I didn't find almost nothing out there. Like I found so much stuff for women. Like it's overwhelming what is out there for women over breakup, right? It's unbelievable. Like so much coaches, programs, it's crazy. It's completely saturated the market. However, for women, especially like 3 years ago, I did like for men, sorry, like 3 years ago, I didn't find anything. I didn't find anything that I thought was suitable for me as a man. And that's what really made me thinking and triggered me to dive deeper. And then I was really going into research. And the first thing that I found, Paul, was, believe it or not, but man is suffering much more after breakup than women do, right? That's scientifically proven. So why is it like this? Because like obviously a woman is first of all suffering more, right? She will also show this obviously, but a woman has a support system, and a woman knows much better intuitively how to process her emotions. She can go to her friends and they make a Prosecco night and they sit together and they talk bad about the ex-boyfriend, and she can, like this, she can process her emotions, right? What can a man do? You can hardly go to your friends and cry, right? You're like, the only thing what they will talk with you about football or whatever, or they will tell you switch on your Tinder or tell you, oh my God, finally you're single. Like, you know what, but nobody will really want to listen to your emotions. If you have a friend that does that, you're blessed. Like seriously, right? If you have a friend like me, because that's what I do with my friends, you're blessed, right? But normally, it's not going to happen. It's interesting because something that I also found out was when I started that, I was like, you know what, Johannes, when I think about it, my whole youth or my whole time since like thinking, always all my friends come to me with their emotional problems. I was like, this is strange, right? So then I was like, okay, maybe this is just a gift that I have and a strength that I have, that I can really listen and really give advice in the best way possible for these kind of situations. And then I was really diving deeper, and I was looking for like stuff that can help men over breakup. And then I was one day meditating in the morning, and I just had this intuition that I have to do a course that helps men over breakup. That's what I did. Like the whole 2018, like almost 1 year, I worked on this course, and I put a friend then in that works for the TV as well, and we made it really nice. We edited it all nice and so on, and we helped until today more than 3,500 men with this course. All right. Another thing that I realized then was that I always suppressed my emotions. Like I was thinking, I said, like, when did you cry the last time? Like, I don't know, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I didn't even remember that, right? So, and I was like, okay, this is like, I want to really get in contact with my emotions again. And I went to a spiritual retreat, I remember, in Berlin. I was there for 1 week. And I could still not get to my emotions. I remember people did crazy things. They was like easing up their body like this, and then they started crazy to laugh and crazy to cry. And I was just annoyed. I was like, come on, shut up, because I cannot concentrate on my emotions, right? And then I was really upset with that. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to book a private session afterwards. I booked a private session. And she did me like a massage and eased my body up, and then she put me a regression into my childhood, whatever. But I started to cry like a baby. Everything broke up. 45 minutes I was crying. And since then, I'm so much more connected with my emotions again. And I also made it to my purpose a little bit, to understand and process my emotions better, because I thought, look, how many men have the same problem than me? Maybe not in this extremity like I had it, but how many men suppress their emotions? Because we just grow up like that, right? We you listen to the story, man up, big boys don't cry, don't be a pussy, take it like a man. You know what I mean? Right? So obviously, like, a man is not really allowed to show emotions, and that's why we learn to suppress our emotions. This even goes automatically. However, when we do that, then exactly we get into this problem, what I said before. We suffer much longer from these situations, like, for example, a breakup, because we suppress emotions, right? There's this beautiful quote of Sigmund Freud that said, right, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. And that's so true, because what we do is, when we suppress these emotions, right, they will come up for later another one. For example, a lot of my clients tell me, like, I'm dreaming of her. Obviously you do, because this is the only time when you cannot suppress them, right? When you get hunted from dreams in the night, that's a sign that you didn't process your emotions. All right. So then basically after that, when I did this course, I was really thinking, okay, I want to do this professional. And I don't know if some guys were in the UK, so for sure some of you know Jay Shetty, right? The Indian guy with the, him, Paul, eh?
Yeah, I've checked him up after you said yesterday, actually.
The Indian guy with the blue eyes, he's one of the best coaches on the planet, and he has basically a coaching certification that I did then, and I basically became a certified coach. And then since start of 2020, I'm helping men of a breakup with a program that's called the Breakup Recovery Fast Lane, where I help men in 90 days seriously to not just like get over the breakup, but to understand exactly what they did wrong. Right? So basically, I will analyze your whole relationship, and I will really process with you all the emotions, all the traumas, all the stuff that happened. I will process with you everything. And when this is done, I will go in your past relationships. I will see where are the patterns. When I know the patterns, what I'm going to do next is basically understanding where they come from. And they are mostly in the childhood, because our brain is like to 95% unconscious, right? Like 5% conscious, 95% unconscious. So the problem is we work like on a program. And this program gets created our whole life, but it's getting installed when we are between 1 and 7. So everything that happens there is basically forming our life until today on a daily basis, and especially our relationships. That's where our triggers come from, right? So now when I know where this comes from, I can go there and I can really work on it through inner child work and deep forgiveness work, and I can release and solve these triggers and these issues that you're having. And then you come to a place where you completely set it free from your emotional baggage. Then I teach you how to really like yourself, accept yourself, and fall in love with yourself. And then I teach you like what that kind of woman is that you really want to attract, so you get clarity and you don't oversee anymore the red flags just because you don't have no idea what you're really looking for. And in the end, I teach you how to live happy and fulfilled relationships. And that's all in 90 days. So, and that's, I think it's massive value, and something that actually every man, every woman, everybody should do it, because it's like I always say, like, who is the person that you have to be, who is the person that you have to spend your whole life with? Paul, what would you say?
You have to spend it with yourself.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So it would be amazing if you would be with somebody that you accept, like, maybe even love. And that's what I do.
Absolutely fantastic. I'd like to say hello to every single person who's watching right now. I will go back after this live and thank each one of you individually. So thank you for listening right now. We've got a couple of questions coming in at the moment, which I'd like to put to you. There's also other questions I have coming up as well. Lindsay here from Exploring the Afterlife. Do you believe men hold on to their emotions? And she actually then followed that up with something else, if I can find that. Which is, society has made society has made men be this way and stems from years and years and years ago. Would you agree with that, and with the
100%.
emotions?
100%. And the interesting thing is I have clients from all around the world, and it's everywhere the same. It's not like it's just like this in the UK, or it's just like this in Europe. It's the same in USA, it's the same in America, it's the same in Australia. It's everywhere like that. And even worse, for example, is it's like in China, places like this, they even men and women cannot show emotions because it's not, they don't like to see that, right? So in general, it's a big problem that we are not expressing our emotions because society tells us not to. Thanks God, there's a little bit of a different thinking now starting, that people are really getting more and more into that. But like the conservative thinking is still, don't show your emotions.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have Pat here, and this goes for so many people as well. I constantly repeat the same thing. So what do you do? Because you must have clients that repeat the same programmings, whether it's not particularly helpful for them. What are some of the tools and techniques you do to help get people out of that repetitive cycle that people can get into?
Okay, so what's like really, really interesting on this point is, right, when you analyze your relationships, because a relationship are a mirror of your soul, right? So when you analyze your relationships and you go through that, and that's what I do, I go through the past relationship, the last one, I go through all the other relationships, and then when you understand the patterns, right? First of all, the insight is the first way to get to the solution, right? So that's something that's clear. So we need to first of all understand what is it? What is the pattern? Like maybe you have only an idea, but we don't really know where it really is. But when we really understand the pattern, then we can say, okay, so wow, okay, I have the pattern. Where does it come from? So I think about it. When did I act the first time like this, right? And then I go back, and then mostly come into childhood or whatever. And then we come to like a trauma situation or anything that happened that is triggering this over your whole life. And when I know that, then I can solve that. And very often we have to solve it through forgiveness. Forgiveness is a massive, massive tool to really solve and relieve emotions, trapped emotions mostly also. And what is interesting here, right? When we speak about forgiveness, one exercise that I do, it's basically an exercise that is building up on, we need to understand one thing, right, Paul? When we have like a mental injury, let's call it like that, right? Then we have to distinguish between primary emotions and secondary emotions. What do I mean with that? Let's say, for example, I get really bad hurt, right? Imagine this like this. This is like my hand, right? And there's now like a hook, right? An angle hook, right? And it goes into my hand, and this is the wound, and it really hurts me. And let's say, for example, in my case, for example, I didn't feel loved after 5 years. That was super bad. Like, because I did not really I didn't have touch. That was my love language. In general, I just didn't feel loved, right? And so because I didn't want to see that, I covered it up, right? Like this. So, and I covered it up with anger, resentment, and even depression, right? So the point was like, as long as I have anger, resentment, and depression, I'm not going to come to this one. Right? I mean, and I cannot solve it because, like, look, like the fist is around the hook. It's hurting me only more. However, I need to understand what are the secondary emotions. What is it that I use to cover the real emotion, the primary emotion? When I understand that, I can open it up, I can relieve it, and I can go to the real reason and to the real pain. And then I can dissolve the real pain.
Fantastic. That's a wonderful metaphor. I really like that. Thank you. Now, love language, because you've mentioned love language. I've heard you mention it before in one of your videos, but there might be some people thinking, love language, what is this? Can you explain it to everybody watching, how important that is within the relationships romantically that you have with people?
Absolutely. I mean, love language, it's so interesting because sometimes I speak with people, and again, I don't want to take myself out because I learned what love language are when I was like 37. So, right, I'm like 2 years ago now. I know what it is. So that's why it's really difficult for me today to understand that people are so long together and they don't know what the love language is. But I was exactly the same. So what's the point? But right, like there are people together 5-6 years together and they have no idea what the love language is. However, if they would know their love language and the love language of their partner, believe me, their relationship would be on a completely different level. Why? Because there are 5 love languages, right? The first is touch. That's personally mine, for example, right? I need touch to feel loved. You need to do like this with me. You need to kiss me. You need to hug me. I feel loved. It's all that I need, right? The second is service. There's maybe somebody that says, look, I'm not needing touch, but I need somebody that does something for me. For example, if it's a woman, if you do the dishes for her, if you hoover for her, if you do the laundry, then she will feel loved because that's her love language, service, right? Then the next one is gifts. That means somebody only feel loved when you make gifts. It don't have to be always big jewelry or whatever, but it have to be small gifts that show your love, right? So that's the third one. Then the fourth one is quality time. That means this is somebody, all right, that can only feel loved when you really spend quality time with them. So that means one thing also very important that I want to point out quickly here, just because it pops into my mind. Quality time is very important because very often we spend a lot of time with people, but we don't really spend energy with people. What do I mean with that? Maybe we are 3, 4, 5 hours together, but the one is only looking in the phone, the other one is thinking about other things, and it's not like really spending energy with each other. We don't really look into each other's eyes, and that's what, like, especially also when we're long time in relationships, we lose to spend energy with each other, right? But energy is so super important. Like, if we don't spend energy with each other, the relationship dies. And now when somebody wants quality time, right? There can be, for example, sometimes like men don't understand that, right? They said, but I'm the whole day with you. But the woman says, yeah, fine, but all the kind of other children around, and when I do have really quality time with you, right? If you would understand that, say, look, like the man would say, look, I'm gonna organize a babysitter. The babies, we're gonna go there on Friday. The kids are there, right? And I'm gonna take you out. Then the woman has quality time. Then she will love you for that, you know? So that's why this is so important. And the last one, the fifth one, is words. Words of affection. I love you, I want you, you're beautiful, blah, 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 right? These kind of things. And these people, they maybe only feel loved when they get this, all right? So now the problem comes, right? So now it can be, because I don't know the love language of my partner, she doesn't know mine. So what I do to show my love is touch her all the time. And I think she should love me because, you know what, like, well, why she doesn't feel loved? Like, I don't understand, right? And she maybe makes me all the time gifts. And I'm like, but that's not what I want. I want to touch, like, oh, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Right?
Yes, exactly.
And because the communication is not there, the relationship doesn't work out. Because the one is not happy and the other one neither. If they would start to communicate their love languages, it would be a completely different story.
Absolutely, and I think that it's something important that we all look into. Remember those 5 different languages and really be aware. And I guess find out what your partner, if you're in a relationship, what their one is to make them feel loved as well. I'm getting a chain of messages that I'm seeing up here, so I think
you can even do a test, guys. Sorry to interrupt you, but you can even
do a test.
You can even do a test. You just Google, right? Test love languages. If you don't know it, you do the test. You know it. And you can even do it with your partner. Say, oh, look, that's funny. I just found that. You want to not try this out for yourself? And boom, you know it. And you have it done in a funny way. And it will help you to improve your relationship massively.
Brilliant. I'm getting a chain of messages coming up here. And what I'm following, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but someone's in a relationship here and it feels like their partner is deliberately pushing them away and it's making them feel quite helpless. What could you say to help that person who's feeling those emotions at this moment?
First of all, it's all about communication, right? So what's one thing that I would suggest to do? I mean, obviously, I don't know the whole situation. It's always difficult to really give advice if I just know like a part of the story. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's the first thing. But like just from my first feeling, what I recommend to do in these situations, this is also something that I always recommend people when they're a little bit stuck, right? So when we are in our normal home, right? For example, like location has energy. That's something that we need to understand, right? So time has memory, location has energy. Think about that. That's interesting. So location has energy. That means basically, so when you start now to talk about these things, for example, when you sit on the table in the night and the kids are around or whatever, you will not get to anywhere, you know? But what you can do, and there one more time, I'm on quality time, is really take them out, put them in another location, and tell them, look, I really want to talk to you, right? And be open, communicate with each other. But again, do it in a different setting with a different energy, because then they will listen completely different. And also, it will be like you take them out, they have time, they don't have all the stuff in their head from the daily, you know what I mean? They can really listen to you and then communicate with each other. And if this doesn't work, then there are deeper issues. That's what I don't know. But like communication is key.
I totally agree with you. I haven't seen them watching at the moment, but I know they did ask a question, so they might be watching up on catch up. Someone that I know was in a relationship. Well, I don't know them that well, but they've messaged they're in a relationship, and I know this must happen. I know it happened to loads of people that I know as well, and their wife, their other half, died. And it was a really loving relationship, really close, the way a good relationship should be working. So now they're feeling lost as an individual. What can they do to start heal themselves and working on themselves? Because they had that great bond to begin with, which is suddenly taken away from them.
The question is obviously when it happened. Like did she
9
just
years,
9 years
9 years
ago?
ago and passed away.
9 years ago passed away, but she was also which age?
I don't know. I didn't say that, so that would help. The person seems to be middle-aged types of person from the look of their photo. Sorry if I've got that wrong and you're watching there now.
Okay, I mean, like if they just get taken out by life, like from a disease or something like this, it's always much more difficult, and I understand that, right? To be honest, but also I have to say I know what I'm good at, and I'm not an expert with this. This I also have to really say, right? I'm like I have my big strength are relationships, but I really have difficulties to help somebody with these kind of things, to be honest, because I'm not really having this feeling for the situation. You understand? I also have people dying in my family, yes, but like for me personally, I always see, especially when they are sick, like I loved my grandmother to death, right? She was basically also educating me a little bit because my both parents were working and stuff. But when she died, she had like Alzheimer's for many years, and for her it was like how is this called, like yeah, she was gone, and like she was like liberated. It was a liberation for her, right? So, and also for all the family. So in this case, I mean, I just really send a lot of love to her, and I still feel love from her, and I still sometimes talk with her in my meditations and stuff like this. But I just try to remember all the good things, right, and keep her in my heart. But I will also understand that, like, basically I have to move forward with my life, because like one thing is like also like I think this is a little bit similar to the relationship. It's like denial, right? I still stay in denial. I mean, I cannot believe that they're gone. I cannot, like, I just cannot. No, this cannot be. You know what I mean? But I need to learn to understand that's reality, and I need to make the best out of it. And what it helps me or my wife when I'm sad for the next 10 years, you know. So that's why like this is the, like, I tell you one more time, it's not my specialty, right? So that, like, I'm not telling you that I'm an expert here, but the thing what I would just say is really like focus on yourself, focus on the things that you love. Like, for example, what's something that I do with my clients maybe can help you as well. Make a list with 10 or even 20 things that you love, right? Like that you really love, and do them consciously on a daily basis, because it will help you just to be more happy. What also you can do is do gratitude, right? Gratitude is so massive, and it's scientifically proven that it helps even 6 months later. When you do a gratitude journal today and you do it for 3 months, 6 months later, you still will feel the impact. So that's another thing that you can do. Really learn to be grateful for the things that you have and not for the things that you don't have. You know what I mean? So these are these are like short tactics, obviously, that you can use. But in general, I think for him, he just needs to really learn to let go and to understand that they're gone. And it doesn't help him nothing when he's sad for 10 years. And I
No.
don't believe his wife would like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing any of our loved ones that have moved on from us would like is for us to feel sad. I mean, I know that everyone that's passed on would hate me to be sad for the rest of my life. We've got Lindsay, who said here, I am dyslexic, so if I read this wrong, do forgive me. I understand that poor as afternoon dad died. My mum was only 29, and for her to move on, it was hard just meeting someone on a friend's level who understands and can blossom into something good. So it's just Lindsay's about that. So Laura has just, yeah, there's lots of people I need to shout out to, so thank you for watching. It says great live, thank you. So what I wanted to touch on now was, I know people have been single for a huge amount, like many years, and it's not their self-esteem. And when they go to a party and it's like the 4th year that they turn up at this party without another half, they start to feel like they're not worthy. Coaching people, what things can you do to make them feel more worthy in that situation?
You really work on yourself. Like, you know, like everything starts from the inside out. And when you come to a point, that's what I always tell to my clients, right? The work that I do is bringing you to a point, and that's what I really want to achieve, that you are basically so much like really loving yourself, to come to a point that you love yourself. When you love yourself, you don't need anybody to love you. And automatically people will start loving you. That's the funny story, because everything is energy somehow, right? So when you can like really work on yourself so much, like you need to understand the work on yourself is the most important work that you can do in your life. And I mean it like I said. There's nothing more important than the work on yourself. And this is not selfish or anything, because you also help everybody around you. Because when you're happier, you treat everybody around you better. It's just like that. So that's why it all starts from the inside out. So that means before you go out, take the time and really work on yourself. Find somebody that, if like, and that's the next thing. That's very important. If you cannot do it on your own, ask for help, right? Because that's also something that I had to learn. Believe me, I was like, from 19 to 39, I was in toxic relationships, right? And I was doing so much self-development, Paul, that you cannot believe, because I'm like crazy. I'm a nuts for personal development. I'm Mind Valley, Life Book, everything that you can find, all personal development books in the world. I have read them all, right? However, I was stuck in toxic relationships. And like, because also I didn't ask for help. I thought I can manage this on my own. Why should I do it? I don't need anybody, right? Until I come to a point after my last relationship that I worked with a coach, because I realized that I want to be a coach, maybe, whatever, because I had this course. I said, look, I want to work with a coach, right? I want to check this out. And believe me, like, I had never learned so much about myself than when I was working with this coach. One time on the other, I understood my patterns. I understood my bad relationship patterns. I understood my reaction. I understood my triggers. I understood where they was coming from, because the work that I do, I did it first of all on myself, right? So, and because I was so impressed from the work that I have done with my coach, I became a coach myself, because I want to give back. Because I believe, one more time, that this evolution that you can do working with a coach that is a really good coach, like a certified coach, somebody that really knows what he's doing, right, is so massive that like you cannot even pay for it. Like I always say, like what's this commercial? The good things that you cannot pay MasterCard or something like that.
Yeah. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I really see it, right? And like I can also tell you, like I met the love of my life now with 39, right? I engaged her like a week ago, right?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I know, Paul, that she only came into my life because I was ready. Because like attracts like, right? When you're insecure, you will attract insecure people. When you are like hurt, you will attract hurt people. That's just how it is. You cannot do nothing against it. However, when you're really full of yourself, like not full of yourself, but like you're fulfilled, you know what I mean? And you're really like loving yourself, what do you think you will attract?
Exactly.
And that's why I met this girl, and I call her my unicorn, right? Like, because she's like everything I always wanted and more. Like if I could make a list, she would, like, it's unbelievable, right? But she came into my life because I was ready. Because we are what we attract.
Exactly. Just before I go on to the next question to you, just checking, is my camera looking all right still? Because I had to switch on the Wi-Fi on my phone. I just want to make sure that I'm still broadcasting HD, because it can, if I've got too many things going on, start. So do I look nice and clear still on the picture, or am I going a bit blocky?
You look fine.
Oh, good. That's good. I did one the other day and I had something running and I looked really blocky, and yeah, it wasn't so good. So one of the things, if you go on YouTube, if anybody's going through a breakup and you look on YouTube, you'll just see tons and tons of videos about this 30-day, longer, no contacts, get your ex back stuff. Now, there's some people that say, yes, attract your ex back. There's other ones say your ex is an ex for a reason, move on. Where do you stand on breakups with your coaching?
To be honest, like I think it's almost ridiculous how many coaches are out there and they tell you, I can bring you back your ex. I mean, what they use, manipulation and nothing else, right? If I like, seriously, one thing, if the relationship broke for whatever reason, because both of you have maybe to work something on yourself, because the relationship most of the time breaks because one or both of them are not in balance with themselves. That's basically the main reason, because again, if you don't love yourself, how you can love somebody else, right? So now if the relationship breaks and there have been too many triggers and that's why you broke up, okay? And let's say both of you seriously work on yourself. Like, let's say you work with a coach, whatever you do, right? And you really work on yourself and you take this time off to work on yourself. And then maybe try it one more time again and both want it. And then maybe you go for counseling. Then I do see a chance, right? But there's a big but. If you just do no contact because you believe, oh my God, I'm not contacting her because then she will start to miss me. And then again, no. Why? Because nothing is solved. The issues are still there. The only thing is going to happen, right, is that when you come together again, you will find again this honeymoon phase and everything was going to be nice. And I have done it 2-3 times, so I know what I'm talking about, right? But then the issues are coming back because nothing is solved. You didn't work out nothing, right? And then most of the time it ends in horror, at least for me. I mean, I did it 3 times and for me it was always like horrible. Always when I did it. It was like the worst time in my life almost, right? So, I mean, obviously I'd not say there are exemptions, right? Like I said, there are exemptions. I don't say it's with everybody like this. And maybe you know one couple that broke up, came together again, and today they're truly happy. Yeah, if you know one, amazing. I don't know one, right? But like, that's what I mean, okay? So like, it is possible, but the possibility is very, 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 very low. And it only works, and that's super important. It only works when both of them work on each other individually and together as well when they are again coming together. And both needs to want it. If this is like that, I give it a chance. If not, no chance.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people just want that hope. And as we were saying, you know, there's lots of people just out there just wanting to hear reassurance from people. So if you're in a marriage and it's going through I don't know if they still say the same, but used to say like a 7-year itch. What sort of things can you do with coaching to get the two people to communicate, to mend the differences? Because at the beginning, people fall in love, they were deeply in love, but what kind of things can people spend time together talking? You mentioned a love language. What else can people do to help heal the situation when something's getting very rocky in that marriage?
And first of all, absolutely love languages, communicate your love language, work with love languages. You can use all 5 love languages, you know what I mean? It's not that you just need to use the one, obviously major, the one that you know that they need, all right? But you can use the others as well. So that's the first thing. And then there's one secret, guys. I'm not joking, right? I got this from them when I did Live Book by Mindvalley. I got this secret, and I think it's a secret that like can change relationships in a massive way. What do I mean with that? Is take one night per week, or at least one night every second week, completely off with you and your partner. No children, no nothing, quality time. I promise you, this is going to change your relationship that you cannot even imagine. And it's like, oh, I cannot do this. Yeah, you can do this. You can take a babysitter. You can put it to the aunt. You can take it to the, there's always a way that you can do this. And I believe me, it's changing completely, because what it does, first of all, it creates quality time. Second, also maybe the woman, because a woman is a very emotional being, and also like for a woman, obviously like also sexual scene, right? A woman is a lot in the head. So basically like the woman can already prepare herself and looking forward to it, maybe thinks about what she's gonna wear and I don't know what, you know what I mean? And it's a completely different story. And you go somewhere nice, and it doesn't need to cost money, you know what I mean? You can go for picnic, whatever, be a creative, right? But do something that is only for the two of you. Especially when you have children, that's so super important, because it can happen that you don't do stuff together for months, years, right? Because they're always around, and then obviously sexuality is dying out, right? And sexuality, sorry to say that, it's super important in the relationship as well. It cannot just die out. It need to be there, you know? And also like the next point, energy need to be there. And again, when you always like, I had this conversation with a client of mine. He said like always children were around. I said, yeah, of course. How you can get into a status that you really can really spend energy with each other? It's difficult, especially for a woman, because she will always think about the children. Where are they? What they're doing? You know what I mean? She cannot be really calm. She cannot come in a state like that. However, when you say as a man, look, I put the babies there and there, I put the children there and there, right? We're going to go out. You be also the leader as a man, because that's very attractive. And you say, look, I organize this for us. And then you say, okay, we go there. Okay. Then the woman will love that. And then you can really create, again, energy with each other. And when you do this on a regular basis, that's like the best recipe that I can give you for a good relationship.
Fantastic. I don't know how to pronounce it. Rebel or something. I do apologise. I've made a right hash of your your name there. But they've mentioned this book, The Evolution of Desire: Strategy of Human Mating. Have you come across that and read it yourself at all?
No, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
I will check it out. What is this about? Can you tell me? Or?
Yeah. So can you please elaborate on that, please? And I do apologise if you were talking about it in the stream beforehand, but there's lots of different comments coming up, so just trying to keep on top of it at the moment. Now you've actually, for men, people can get in contact with you, and you've got a free ebook, like a small ebook that you give out to men going through a breakup. Can you sort of mention that come to you now 3 of the tips in there that you find really helpful? I mean, one that springs to mind is the exercise, because that's so important. But is there other ones that and why they're so good for you?
First of all, don't bottle things up. Really talk about it, right? Especially for us men, because that's what we do. We just suppress. So think about it. If you know anybody in your family or really a good friend that you can trust, and talk with them about it, about your emotions. Let it out. If you find somebody that listens, amazing, right? But think about it carefully. If you cannot, again, work with a coach, yeah, because they will listen. They get paid for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that's the thing, right? But this is the first thing. Then the second thing, you need to really get like this no contact thing that they are saying. There's a lot of truth inside, right? Why is this so important? Because what we need to understand that romantic love is an addiction. Right? And it's actually the strongest addiction on the planet. It's stronger than cocaine or opiates or whatever. If you think about people kill people for love, you understand, right? So that's the thing. So we need to understand the addiction. And because it is an addiction, we need to go cold turkey. So basically, we cut out everything in our lives that reminds us of them. Right? So basically, we need to delete everything on social media. We need to really like unfollow them or block them. This is all, there's a lot of truth inside, because science says, and I believe in this to 100%, every reminder is delaying your healing process. And I can tell you now that, especially in this breakup group, people that are after 7, 8, 9 months, a year, 1, 2 years, still not over their exes, they're still connected somehow to them on social media. What is interesting, or they're blocked and they look from different kind of profiles or whatever, but they will never stop to keep the connection. And that's what they will always have a reminder, and they will never really heal. That's the thing, right? So this is also very important to really cut everything out, because otherwise you cannot really heal. And also you need to understand that it's over. That's the next thing. As long as you keep just a little bit of hope, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward, because if you keep this hope, there's always like, you always want it back. However, when you really close the door, you will do a big step forward. And the thing is, like, if you tried it, like, you know, like, I'm not against love, really not. But I mean, there's people that tried it 2 or 3 times, begging, things, dang, and just stay still in denial. I cannot believe that it's not, it's not, no. You know, come back to reality, guys. Like, it doesn't work out. You tried it 3 times. What do you want to do? Nothing is going to change. The only thing that you do is you're stuck in denial. And it's like, if you think about the grief circle, denial is the first stage. So if you're stuck there, you will not move forward. It's very simple, right? So that's another thing that I can give you. And then what I also always say, especially when the relationship has been toxic, what is very often the case, right? Especially like with clients that I work. And this is like a strange thing, but especially the toxic relationships are mostly the hardest to get over. It's interesting. But What you can do in this case, if you know that the relationship was rocky and maybe the last few months was not good, and it's a simple thing, it sounds stupid, but it's a pros and cons list. Why you do that? Okay? Because one thing that we need to understand, after a breakup, we cannot trust our mind. Our mind is not our friend after a breakup. Why? Because like we need to understand one thing. When a breakup happens, okay, then it would be amazing if our mind would just stop loving the other person. It's like, oh, I broke up. You don't think about it, it's done, right? No, no, of course not. The mind is continuing to love the other person, and what it wants, it longs for his hormones that is familiar hormones that he likes so much, and that's like dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin that he gets from this partner. And because he doesn't get it anymore, it tries to help us to soothe the pain for showing us happy memories and nice moments. Right? And when it's coming happy moments and nice moments, basically we are like, oh, and like, oh, for one moment we feel better because that's what the brain wants. But however, when we wake up, we realize they're gone before we fall in even a deeper hole. And that's why we need to understand that we cannot trust our romanticizing brain. That means that's what I what will do is I make a pros and cons list and I see, look, how was it really? Right? What was all the good things? What was the bad things? And when the relationship was rocky and toxic, believe me, their list like is this on the pros is here and the other one is zip. It's like that, massive, you know? And then people understand and get more clarity why it's better that the relationship is finished. A lot of other stuff that you can do. I give one more nice, really, really good example. And this is like, I always call it like, basically, take your broken heart and turn it into art. Beautiful one. So
Yeah, I
that's
like that.
what you can do, because like, if you think about it, a lot of masterpieces in art are made after heartbreak. In a heartbreak, there's so much power. The Greek called this miraki, right? The power of the heart, the power of a broken heart, basically. So basically what's happening is that when you think about Guns N' Roses, November Rain, right? Aerosmith, Crying, and maybe for the younger one, Adele, Hello. You know, there's so much stuff, like these love songs, like world-class songs have been made after heartbreak. Or the Taj Mahal have been made of a very bad heartbreak. Yeah? Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare. There's so much, man. You can go make a list like that. You know what I mean? So, and the thing is, like, there's so much power in the broken heart. So, what you can do is when you are having this heartbreak, because there's a lot of time that you don't know what to do with yourself, right? Because before you always had your partner and you're like so lonely. And what I normally do is, right, find something that maybe you stopped doing, but you loved to do it as a child, or something that you always wanted to do, but you never did it. And then start doing it. Start to sing, start to write, start to draw, whatever it is, right? Because this energy, again, helps you to process your emotions. And another thing that I also especially suggest for men is journaling. Because journaling is something that helps, especially us men, amazingly to process our emotions. Right? Because there's some magic when we put things with pen on a paper. We write with pen on a paper, right? That there's happening something, and it helps us men massively to process emotions. I started really journaling after my last big breakup, and I never stopped since.
Fantastic. Moira mentions the author David Bruce. Have you heard of that author? He was the author of that book. No.
No, okay. But I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, perfect. Lindsay said men and women need to be honest more with themselves and partners instead of trying to solve issues with people who only take one side of relationships. Do you find that people that are going through either breakups or a rocky time or wanting to smooth things out, that sometimes friends don't help?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when they're more friend with the one than the other one, or when they're the best friend, because maybe they want a bit more time again with them. You know, like it's like, it can be like, for example, I was one time in a relationship like this, right? This was one of my second toxic relationship, and she had one best friend, and she was super happy when we split up, because then she had more time with her, right? And she was always telling, hey, he's this, he's that, he's very bad, blah, 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 until she split up with me, you know? So definitely not always the best advice, friends, definitely not. And I would be careful, like I said, but that's why we again on this point, we need to find somebody that you can really trust, somebody that is really only listening, and you know that is not just giving you bad advices because it's looking for his own interests.
Yes, of course. It was David Buss. I think I said Bruce then, so sorry for the misreading. With these tips and things with people, and you said about toxic relationships, I think people can be in denial when they're in relationships, particularly if they find the other half very attractive or they have that gravitas about them that they're drawn to. What are some warning signs that can show that this other half is actually going to be very toxic towards me?
Good question. Warning signs. I think warning signs are really when you realize that you cannot really communicate with them, right? The only thing what they do is directly freak out. Like, for example, this typical, like, I had a lot of drama queens in my life, right? I don't know, I attracted them for some reason, don't ask me why. And you cannot communicate with them, they just freak out and shout on you and curse you and I don't know what, you know what I mean? And like even like small things make them completely crazy. Like, I mean, one thing I think very important that you realize if somebody is just in balance with themselves, if they get not annoyed by small things, they're like me personally, man, I meditate every day in the morning. I don't know what needs to happen that I really freak out. I didn't freak out for the last 2 years, I guess, right? So like it need to happen a lot that I'm getting out of control, you know? And people that are very easy triggered from a lot of small things, they can become very toxic.
Absolutely. And I know that
and was one thing more, sorry, that I also
no,
want to say.
go for it. No, please.
Just because it just pops in my mind. If you meet them and they speak very bad about their ex-partners.
Right, okay.
That's also a big sign that like, it's not only them, right? When there's so much toxicity, then maybe they are a little bit guilty for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you're a big fan of meditating. Just because I like meditating and doing self-hypnosis. So just say what the benefits of meditation is to calm down the mind and how you feel afterwards from maybe a state where you're not feeling particularly good about yourself in the situation to what you feel like after doing it. And practice as well is brilliant with meditation.
I mean, meditation, especially when you do it regularly, I think there's almost nothing better what you can do to create connection and self-love, right? If you really want to go on the path to find self-love, you should meditate. Because the thing is, like, love, like I made a post about this one some time ago. I said, look, in general, we are love, right? And we are always connected. However, when we are too much in our head, like also when we are too much in our head, we disconnect from love. And another thing is when we are children, if you look at children, they are pure love, right? If you look at a child, it can bring you in the present moment. If you just see the face smiling, you get into the state of love, right? However, when we get older and all the stuff happens around us and all the problems and all these things, we disconnect, yeah? But we are always connected, so we can just split and go again into the state. However, we can only do this in the present moment. And we can only do it when we're present. And meditation, that's why it's called mindfulness, helps you doing that. Meditation brings you in the present moment. And in the present moment, you can be happy. And in the present moment, in the silence, you can really listen to yourself. You can listen to your intuition. You can listen to your inner child. Like one exercise, for example, that just one today, I'm in how is this called, in a mastermind group, right? And we talk about this deep spiritual stuff. And like I learned something today also that for me was new, like interesting, is that like I work always with inner child work, right? But like this guy says, you know what, Johannes, whenever you have states, doesn't matter what it is, when you feel something is not right, you feel like an emotion that you don't like or whatever, get silent and listen and ask your inner child what it needs. I love that, man. Because like in general, everything comes from there. All the triggers that we have, they come from there. It's coming from this inner child that somehow it doesn't get what he wants, right? So when you come into this state and you get these emotions, ask the inner child, what do you need? The inner child will start talking with you.
Fantastic. And is there, because you can work with yourself, and there's other coaches that do inner child, but just if somebody wants to just experiment with the inner child work themselves, is there something you can do just to start working on your inner child yourself, or is it something that you need to really do with a coach one-on-one?
I would do it with a coach one-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't think there is another way. I mean, you can try it on your own, but it's normally a visualization, so you need to close your eyes and stuff. You can try to find some stuff on YouTube, but I think it's never going to be the same.
No, absolutely. You've got
Because
that
you need the
guidance.
energy, you know, you need the guidance, you need the energy, plus it need to be fitted to you. So like when I do my inner child stuff, I had before sessions, so I know exactly what is that trigger. I know exactly what I need to ask the inner child. You know, if you just do something on YouTube that is not really fitted for you, plus it can be quite dangerous, the inner child thing. So you need really somebody that knows what he's doing.
Perfect. I think this will be the ideal time for you to say how people can get in contact with you, your materials, working one-on-one, your website, and what other things you have available that you can give to men and also women or whoever you are going through either good wanting to improve, going through a breakup, which you hugely do. But if you can just say about yourself, and then during this time, so if anybody has any other questions as well, please pop them in the comments, either on Facebook if you're watching there, or in the YouTube chat. So if you can say how people can get in contact with you.
You can find me on Facebook. Just you put Johannes Fessler coach. There you find me. Then also I have a group for men, the Breakup Recovery Fast Lane. Right, for men only. This is unfortunately for men only. Sorry, woman, but that's for men only. The Breakup Recovery Fast Lane. Just put this in and you find the group. If you look for Facebook, then you can also check Breakup Recovery Fast Lane. You just put it in Google and you got to my website. Over my website, you can also directly book something with me. So directly you can book an appointment with me over the website. So that's the easiest way. Also on Instagram as well on Breakup. Everything is Breakup Recovery Fast Lane. Wherever you look for me, it's always Breakup Recovery Fast Lane. Or if you want to go direct in contact with me, also Johannes Fessler coach. Just friend me. I'm happy to like I post a lot of stuff on a daily basis that is very helpful as well on my personal profile. So you can friend me and let's be friends.
Wonderful. And has there been, obviously people give you testimonials, but some testimonials that really spring out to you? Remember ones that kind of you really made a difference and gave you that good warm feeling, really touched your heart of what somebody you worked with that has got them from a sad state to a loving life again state?
Yeah, I have few, obviously, right? I mean, like I have one that he like it's a completely different story, but he was basically he was cheating on his wife like massively, like you cannot believe, like, and he had a lot of guilt. Obviously, it was very difficult for him. However, we worked through everything, and then we come to the point that basically in his childhood something happened. I don't want to go too much because this is the things of my clients.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
But like we've understood why this all happened, and we understood that he basically relived the life of his father because his father was exactly doing the same, right? And we understood everything, all the stuff, like all his patterns. He took it all over from his father, and he woke up. And through this, that he finally woke up, he could learn and start to forgive himself. And today he's really in a place that he's not 100% guilt-free, but he is like, let's say 95% guilt-free, right? So this was a massive, massive transformation that I did with this guy. And he really lives a totally happy relationship as well today. So that's the next thing. So he really worked through that stuff. Another story that I can tell you is another client that I have, that he basically also had, like me, like toxic relationships his whole life, right? Started working, he's 49, by the way, right? Started working with me. And now, just like a week ago when I did my engagement, right? He was calling me and said, Johannes, I found the love of my life after I knew this already, but I said, I'm going to also ask her not to marry me. So that's another beautiful story. This guy has bad relationships his whole life, worked with me for 3 months. After 3 months later, he met the woman of his life. Right, it's a beautiful story as well, and there are like me in my relationship as well. He says, "You cannot believe she has everything I always wanted," right? And I say, "No, I know why. Because he's on the level of her. He attracted her because he's on her level, right? And that's what I do."
Fantastic. And if you could, the relationship you now have with your fiance, now you're engaged to be married, if you could sort of think back to the person you were before you met her, and you were going to told yourself, you would have this relationship where everything was right, would you believed it would have been possible for you back then when you were in those toxic relationships?
No. I always had this dream, obviously, but like, you know what's funny? Because I was in 2 times 5 years, 1 time 4.5 years in relationships, and I never had the thought even of marriage. Never. Like for me, it was like, nah, marriage, no. I don't know. Like for me, it was like a different kind of world. Like I was like, no, I don't know if I ever want to get married because I never had the feeling that I'm with somebody that I want to be with my whole life. You know. And today, when I look back, I also know why, because I was not somebody that I wanted to be with my whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. So just going to a couple more points. We're going to go for about an hour, so we're approaching towards the end of the hour. But exercise, you said, is really good. Meditation is really good. And I know a lot of people say, well, I keep forgetting, I don't find the time. What did you do? What changed in yourself so you actually go, right, I'm going to put the time in for these things, for meditation? Or with clients, what's helped to actually think, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and find the time to do this meditation, these exercises? I mean, you mentioned star jumps in your book as well.
It's all about morning ritual. Morning ritual is key. You do everything that you need for yourself in the morning first thing. That's changing everything. Because like even if it's a bad day, man, you have done everything what you need to do for yourself. And you every day is a good day like that. But we need to really like morning ritual is key. If you can like wake up like an hour earlier and you do, for example, 20-20-20, like Robin Sharma says in his book, The 5 a.m. Club. I did this basically for over 9 months, waking up every day 5 a.m. and then I was like, nah. But yeah, like I still do my morning ritual. I started now. I start at 7 now. But this is anyway. I live in Spain. It's like 5 in the UK. You know what I mean? Because we are 2 hours back, anyway. So,
Mm,
but like, I really wake up, I meditate, I go a little bit running, I do some stretching, do some journaling, read some book that I always love to read, and then like I read something that is called The Alchemy of Self, but it's just for me some affirmations and stuff, and then I'm ready for the day. And this is what I do every day.
fantastic,
And with my
absolutely.
clients, that's also something you can obviously, that's super important. I don't want to overwhelm people. We speak here on small steps, big priorities. So you don't need to start with everything. Start with one habit, right? Start with meditation. If you see meditation is good and you have it in your day and it's easy for you to do, start maybe to go like 20 minutes running. If this goes as well, start with journaling. Like put it up, make it small, like Shady says, small step about big priorities.
Absolutely. Well, almost at the hour stage now. Is there anything else that you would like to mention at this point that you haven't said during this live so far that you think is key to self-happiness in a relationship or even out of a relationship?
I mean, I can just really speak from my own experience. What I really, really recommend you to do when you have the feeling that for whatever reason, let's say you're over 35 and you have the feeling that you're always in toxic relationships and somehow you just cannot find the right partners, and really think about that maybe the reason for all that is you, right?
Mm,
And really think about what you can do to get better. And like I said, the best thing what you can do is work with a coach like me, because I can tell you from experience, nothing is going to change your life like if you work with a certified coach that really helps you to ask you these questions that you would never ask yourself. But it helps you to really create this self-awareness. And through this self-awareness, you come to a place where you're really in balance with yourself. And when you are there, then you can create self-love. And when you love yourself, everybody will love you.
absolutely. That's a beautiful place to end it, I think. Thank you for everybody that's watching. I will go back and hopefully if I can thank every single one of you that has joined in tonight. This will be available, to be on my YouTube still. It will also be on Facebook for a while, so if you're friends of mine, you'll be able to scroll down and see it again. Do you want to just do one more shout out, Johannes, about your website again to make sure that people really know what to look for?
Right. So you find me on my private Facebook, Johannes Fessler Coach, or otherwise you just look for Breakup Recovery Fastlane. That's basically my homepage, or you look for the Facebook group Breakup Recovery Fastlane for men only, and also Instagram. I'm there as well, Breakup Recovery Fastlane. All right.
Brilliant.
It would be great to see you there. When you guys, when you have seen me here and you find me, right? Or on Facebook, just send me a short message like, I have seen you there, you know, like I know where you're coming from. That would be awesome. Also the same in the group. If you get in contact with me, just give me a shout out. You have seen that. That would be awesome. So I know who was watching me, right? And who found me over that channel.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Next week, I have the guest, Robin Waite, who's a business and career coach. That'll be at the slightly later time of 8 o'clock, so that'll be 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. If you can join in for that section of the Wheel of Life, that'll be absolutely amazing. You'll be seeing another little video put out from me about that coming up soon. Johannes, are you happy just to stay on just for 5 minutes after, just for a bit of a down chat after?
100%.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time.